Okay. All right. All right. Well, we made it to week 7. We are almost done with our series. That's so exciting. And I know we're feeling maybe a little anticipation leading up to next week if it's something new to us, but I just want to let you know that there's nothing to be worried about. You have all the tools that you need, and now it's just starting to really plant that seed that you are capable to get through it, right? It's just about taking that first step and coming to the class, and then we'll take that next step about breathing, and then next step about trying out 1 sun salutation, 2, and we'll just go from there. So I'm really trying to just put it out there that anyone can do this. And that's why this series is here, is to help give you that confidence. So I just want you to know that you have the tools. I know time flies and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, it's here. So that's why it's like, oh my God, no, I'm not ready. But you're ready. I mean, you're ready. You're ready to attempt it. You're ready to give it a try. And just know that I'm going to break it up. I'm going to offer plenty of times to take a break. So we're not just pounding through and your shoulders, your body's like, oh my God. And I don't want to torture you. So that's not the point. So just know that I'm going to try to make it as pleasant as possible with quotation marks, because how pleasant can it be? And that's the point, is I'm going to try to make it as pleasant as possible. So with that being said, today's class, our class before attempting those 108 Sun Salutations, is basically going to be a review of the postures that we've gone over the past couple of weeks. It's going to be a review of the modifications that we've offered. And so I've created a flow that we're going to work through those modifications, as well as kind of using places in between those sun salutation reps to slow it down, to stretch it out a little bit, to offer you a chance to breathe if you feel, so we're not just pounding through those sun salutations, because that's not what I want next week. So I want to kind of give you a taste of that this week. And I didn't work in any specific core exercises because this is going to be work. We're going to be planking. We're going to be doing things that are going to be working our core. So just remember throughout today's class that engaging our core is important. To always remember to suck that navel towards your spine, and that's going to help tighten up those muscles and help activate those muscles to get a nice, tight, strong foundation here into the core. And it's really as simple of just, you don't have to suck in the stomach, but it's just as simple as kind of pulling that belly button towards the spine, and that's going to help those muscles activate. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to take much more time than that. We'll start on our mat today. Go ahead and come on down however you see fit. And I want to mention our main props that we'll have today. A massage ball, definitely going to still use that. 2 blocks will come in handy, possibly if you like to use those for your forward folds, and I might reference them. So it's nice to have those on hand just in case you want to use them. And then an extra padding for underneath the knees, or a little purple pad that we have here in the studio for those here, because we will be dropping into a tabletop, or if you're in that downward dog and just want to take a break, drop to your knees, have that there if you like that extra padding. And know that anytime that you want to take a break, anytime you want to drop down to your knees out of your downward dog, drop your knees and anytime you want to do whatever you want, do whatever you want. Because again, as much as I'm here offering you this review of everything, this is your practice still. So whatever you want to get out of today, whether that is just kind of trying to take in the information, or again, challenging yourself a little bit and seeing what you can do today. But always listen to your body and modify where you see fit. So if there's an option that's better for you in terms of these chaturanga modifications and these sun salutation modifications that we're going to be going through and that we've covered the last few weeks, there's one that works better for your body, then do it this whole time. You don't have to be working into that full push-up. You don't have to be doing anything that you just know that your body is not quite there yet. And that's about having compassion with where you're at. No, that doesn't mean that you're failing at all. It just means that you're doing your body right by working up on that foundation that, all right, this is the place I feel good, strong, confident, and not compensating in my body. And this is where I'm going to work on building the strength. So then maybe one day, I feel that it's a little bit more capable and I'm a little bit more confident and I don't feel like I'm sagging the shoulders, doing all this stuff that really isn't okay in the long run for our body when you actually try that more challenging modification, whatever that is, or variation, whatever that is for you. So yeah, just wanted to get that in. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So we can start lying on our back. You can plant the feet and bend the knees to start, and then grab front underneath the thighs and just start to relax back. Couple ways we can start here, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees bend out wide, and recline butterfly. Excuse me. Arms just relax long down beside you. If the hips are feeling tight, scooch those heels away from the hips, just taking a bend out of the knees, or feel free to place blocks underneath the knees so you have your knees falling towards those blocks versus all the way to the floor. If we want to go a little deeper into our hips at this point, we can scooch those heels towards the hips, bending the knees a little deeper, and that's going to allow more space for your knees to fall towards the floor. And if we're just not feeling our hips all together this early, then don't worry. You don't have to have your knees out wide. You can always plant the feet out wide and knock the knees together towards center. But wherever you're at, you start to settle in here, check in with the shoulders. Are they scooched up by the ears? Let's walk them down towards the hips. Close the eyes. And just start to check in with the body and with the mind. How are we feeling this morning? Maybe we've got things ahead that are already filling our body with some tension, our mind with some unease. Maybe we have some things lingering from yesterday, last night. Whatever energy you're feeling within the body that doesn't serve you here, on your next exhale, just go ahead and let it go. And then as you inhale here, breathing in through the nose, big breath. Then exhale, let it go. Take one more big cleansing breath together as we inhale through the nose, invite in fresh energy to work with. And then exhale, let everything go. Just bring one hand to your heart and one hand to the belly button. You seal up your lips here and start to bring your breath in through the nose. Still strong, deep inhale, and then steady back out through the nose. Controlling that breath as you use your abdominals to help inhale and exhale here. Meet on our next inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continuing this breath here on your own for a few more rounds to start to establish a rhythm for your practice to guide you through your postures today. As you create this rhythm in your breath and in your body, maybe you'd like to choose an intention to go along with this. It could be a word or phrase to serve as a bridge between mind and body, a mantra of sorts. Maybe it's embodying a feeling like patience, strength, compassion, or maybe simply being open to receive through your practice today. Whatever intention is coming up here on your next inhale, let's breathe it in, honor it before it's even shown up to serve you. And then exhale, release any expectations surrounding how it may play out for you today on your mat. One more inhale, breathing this in, sealing it in. And exhale, let it go. May this yoga practice open and strengthen your mind and heart. May this practice open and strengthen your mind and heart. Let's go ahead and release our arms down to our sides. Your eyes still closed for a moment. Start to rock your head right and left. You can go ahead and bring that head to center. Bring your knees to close up towards center like a book. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. You have the option here to either keep your eyes closed for this next part or flutter them open, bringing your awareness into the room. We'll hug the knees in towards the chest, circling out the low back to the right and to the left. Let's find our center with the knees as we start to release that left leg down, long towards the floor, flex the foot and stamp the calf down to the mat. Interlace your fingers around the right knee and start to pull it out towards the right side of your mat, so away from the rib cage. And then as you exhale, hug it up towards the armpit. So trying to avoid hugging it directly on top of the rib cage there. Trying to pull it off to the side and squeeze it up to the armpit here. One more big breath, inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Go ahead and gently release that knee, taking your left or your right knee with your left hand. Release your right arm out to the side, and then guide your right knee across the body for a twist here, going as gentle as you'd like, maybe just allowing that knee to cross and taking that hand off so that gravity does most of the work. Or maybe you keep that left hand on and help guide that right knee down. Wherever you're at, notice if the right shoulder is popped up from the mat. Try to plant it back down. Gaze wherever's comfortable on the neck, finding a twist into the torso. One more breath, big inhale. Exhale, twist. Go ahead and inhale, come on back to center, grabbing for that right knee and giving it a squeeze in. And then we'll bring our left knee up towards the chest, grab both knees and give them a squeeze. Maybe rock that low back right and left. And then you can release your right leg long down towards the mat, flex into the foot and stamp the calf down. Interlace the fingers around the left leg, start to pull it out away from the rib cage, so towards the left side of your mat. On your next exhale, hug it up to the armpits, squeeze it in. Creating some space, pull it away from the rib cage, and then exhale, squeeze it up in. Massaging out the intestines here. And then let's gently release our knee just slightly so we can grab our left knee with the right hand, release the left arm out to the side, and then guide your left knee across the body, finding your twist here. Again, going to your depth, whether you hold on to that left knee and pull it towards the floor or just release it, let gravity do the work. Stamp your left shoulder back towards the mat, finding your depth here. Big inhale. And exhale. Let's go ahead and come on back forward. Bring both knees in to give them a squeeze. And if you still had your eyes closed, you can start to flutter those open here, maybe giving your lower back little circles one last time to the right and to the left. And then two options here to get up into your tabletop. You can either roll to your favorite side, press up into a seat and roll onto your knees, or grab for the back of the thighs and start to rock and roll up the spine back and forth, giving the spine a little massage here as many times as feels good to rock up, over, and find yourself onto your tabletop. So this is a great place to place that padding underneath the knees if we like it there. We'll plant our palms firmly underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers out wide, knees hip width distance. Take a moment here, find your strong tabletop foundations. Really press into the palms out of the wrists. Bring those elbow pits to face each other so we can round the shoulders away from the ears. Gaze between the thumbs. Check in with the back, make sure it's not slumping. So tuck that pelvis slightly forward, tuck the navel towards the spine. Strong into the core as we breathe here. Big inhale. Keeping that belly button sucked towards the spine as we exhale. Nice job. Big inhale. And exhale. And then we'll keep our weight into our palms and our left knee. We're going to take out that right leg, kick it straight back, flex into the foot, and then kick your leg out to the side and plant your right foot down to the mat. So your toes are forward, heel is out, and your right leg is out to the right side. Plant the palms and press those hips back. So we're sitting back kind of into a child's pose here as we relax our chest down towards the left leg, head relaxes towards the mat. Good little hip stretch here into that inner thigh. We'll take our next inhale as we lift ourselves back up. See if you can plant the palms, weight into the left knee, pick that right leg up and bring it back behind you. Maybe shake it out before releasing it down. Take any wiggles, shimmies into the hips. Here, maybe find some organic movement into the spine. And then let's find our center, weight into the palms and into the right knee. We're gonna kick our left leg out long behind us, flex into the foot, and then bring your left leg out to the side. Plant that foot down, toes forward, heel back. And then start to press into the palms, hips press back towards that right heel. You just allow your head and chest to drop towards your right thigh. Relax towards the mat. Find your depth here, whatever that feels like for you today. Have some compassion with how each side might be a little different. We'll go ahead and inhale, start to lift ourselves back to center. Pick up that left leg, bring it long behind you, and then give it a shake. And go ahead and release it down, finding your tabletop. Next inhale, we'll drop the belly button towards the mat as we pull our chest through, gaze goes up, big arch into the back. Exhale, round the chin in towards the chest, round through the shoulders and back, finding a full cat-cow, few rounds. Inhale, pull the chest through, gaze up. Exhale, round. Inhale, find one more here, pull that chest through, gaze up, belly drops. Exhale, round, tuck the chin. Inhale, neutral spine. We'll spread those fingers wide, curl under the toes, start to lift the knees, and then press those hips back high to the sky. Chest relaxes towards the thighs, head heavy towards the floor. Find a downward dog just for a moment. Maybe you'd like to walk it out, bending one knee and the other. Just check in with how this shape feels here to start. And then when you're ready, taking your gaze up towards your palms and walking the feet forward, or maybe the hands to meet the feet. We'll find a rag doll. Bend the knees as much as you need. Feel free to take your blocks underneath your elbows so that you have something to rest on, or maybe grab for opposite elbows overhead. Let your head hang nice and heavy. And just check in here how the hamstrings are feeling. Bend the knees as much as we need. If we're feeling a tugging into the low back, let your head hang heavy. Shake out. No. Really loosen up that neck. No to any negative thoughts that may come creeping in. And then shaking your head, yes. Yes to being here, learning and growing. And find your center. Let's release our hands towards the mat. Walk those feet to touch. We plant into all four corners of the feet as we bend into the knees and roll up one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow. Arms are heavy. Head last to rise. Shoulders down and back. Nice job. Take any wiggles here into the body that we feel we need. Maybe shake out the arms, shake out the legs, shake out the neck, roll the shoulders. And then when you're ready here, grab for your massage ball. And we're going to plant into the left foot. Start to massage out our feet. Taking our massage ball into the right. Rolling back and forth. Maybe settling in on any sweet spots with just holding down some pressure. Maybe we like to kind of fan out those toes and rock right and left. And check in how our breath is doing. Sometimes we can get into these self-release massages and kind of hold our breath. So really focus on let that breath go, and then take inhale in, just let it go. About one more breath here on this right side, finding any last little sweet spots that feel good. And then let's go ahead and place that massage ball to a good stopping point. We'll plant both feet onto the mat. No particular way here. Arms can just relax heavy beside you, and just take a note about how your feet are feeling. Maybe even close your eyes. That mental, mindful note about how your right foot, after rolling it out, feels a little more grounded, rooted. How the left foot might still be a little lifted. And then when you're ready, go ahead and open those eyes if you closed them. Plant onto that right foot, and let's move on to our left foot. So rolling out that left foot, back and forth, finding any sweet spots that are extra nice to hold, put some pressure onto. Maybe fanning out the toes, rolling those right and left. Taking note too of how both feet might differ. You sometimes can walk a little bit heavier on one foot, or maybe you're standing a lot one day and just kind of leaning off to one side. Take about one more breath here, maybe two. Just really finding any last little spots we want to give some love on to. And then when you're ready, place that massage ball off to the side. Before we settle into our mountain pose, go ahead and take your blocks and place those in front of you about shoulder width distance. We're going to start into our modifications, our sun salutation options that we've done over the last couple of weeks. This first one, if you decide you don't want to use the blocks when we get into it, or at any point during any of these modifications, feel free to not have to use them. But I'm going to get us started just so they're there if you want to use them. So standing at the top of our mat, let's start to find our mountain pose, Tadasana. So bring those feet to touch. Squeeze the inner thighs together, really start to lengthen up from the ground, rooting into those feet. All four corners, so noticing the base of the feet, the heels. And then if we feel like the ankles or knees are knocked together, just separate those feet just enough so that we aren't bothered by that. Slightly tuck that pelvis forward, suck the navel towards the spine, really lengthen up through the torso. So feel a string pulling the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, really lengthening up that spine with that stretching up through the torso. Arms relax long down beside you as they just pull those shoulders away from the ears. Gazes forward, nice and strong front, nice and strong back here. Beautiful, guys. Finding an inhale, just holding this mountain pose. Big breath in. And then exhale, feel the rooting down into the floor. This time we'll inhale, circle sweep, hands reach up high, really lengthen through those fingertips. Exhale, palms to heart center, bend in the knees, start to forward fold. Hands can either come towards your blocks as you start to relax your head towards your shins, hips go high, or maybe you rest your hands towards the floor. Start to find your fold. Again, check in with the low back. If we're feeling any pain, tingy pulling there, bend those knees as much as we need. But for our forward fold, just try to relax that head towards the shins as you feel space to start to lift the hips up towards the sky. Next inhale, we'll bend the knees, start to drop the hips just slightly enough to find your halfway lift. So lift your hands either to your blocks, strong core, flat back, gaze just between those blocks, slightly in front of the feet, or maybe the hands come to your shins. Working slightly into the thighs, If we have space in the hamstrings, your legs can eventually straighten here in your halfway lift, but make sure you're not dumping or arching into the back. So still holding strong into the core. Beautiful, guys. Let's go ahead and fold. Hands can either come to your blocks or to the floor as we start to bend the knees deep, crouch and curl. So drop those hips towards the heels, bend the knees deep, drop your head towards your knees. So this is our option one, big crouch and curl here. And then when you're ready, drop the heels down. We'll lift the hips up and fold, forehead towards the shin. Press into all four corners of the feet as we inhale, bend the knees, circle sweep, hands reach up high. Optional back bend as we open up those elbows, 90 degrees, squeeze into the shoulder blades, gaze up, lean back. Inhale, hands reach up high. Exhale, palms to your heart center. Let's try that one more time as we inhale, circle sweep, hands reach high. Exhale, palms to heart center, hinge at the hips, bend slightly at the knees, forward folds. Head drops, hips high. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, crouch and curl. So go ahead and fold, drop the hips. Crouch your head towards the knees, squeeze those knees together. And the next inhale, drop the heels, circle sweep, hands reach up high. Exhale, palms to heart center. I realized I kind of screwed that one up, so we're going to do it one more time. I forgot a fold in there. So hands come down beside you. Inhale, circle sweep, hands reach up high. Exhale, palms to heart center. And this way you get the feel of it a little bit sped up. So fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bend the knees, hit lift halfway. Exhale, start to crouch and curl, drop those hips, lift the heels, really tuck the head in towards those knees, squeeze those knees together. And then drop the heels, fold forward, head drops towards the shins, hips high. And then press into the feet, circle sweep, hands reach up high. Stand up, optional back bend, bend those elbows open wide, squeeze the shoulder blades, gaze up, lean back. Inhale, stand up high. Exhale, palms to your heart center. Nice job. Relax those hands down, finding your Tadasana. So that just gives you a little idea of it sped up, and I'll offer that option. Like, we'll go through these modifications next week. So I'll be kind of shuffling through these myself. So that way you don't have to feel like you have to remember exactly how they're cued. Like, I'll be cueing them throughout, kind of rotating through them next week. So just so you know, if you don't catch like, but I still don't feel kind of unclear about some of the modifications, don't worry, I'll still kind of be shuffling through them next week. But we'll probably start to go through some of these, like slowing it down, then speed it up around. Again, just giving you that option of seeing how that is a little bit more real life. So let's get into our flow here a little bit as we start to find our second option. So arms come along down beside you, relax those shoulders down, find your mountain pose. Inhale, circle sweep, hands reach up high, find that length. Exhale, palms to heart center, hinge at the hips, start to forward fold. Find your forward folds, nice and strong here as we inhale next, halfway lift. And then exhale, plant your hands towards the mat, step your feet back, find your plank pose. So here's your option two, our plank pose. We're gonna review our plank, whichever option you take, maybe high plank, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, hips stay high, in line with the heels and shoulders. Or maybe you drop the knees towards the floor and find your modified plank, or your forearm plank down onto the forearms, whether your knees are dropped or lifted. Holding here, nice and strong, suck the navel towards the spine, big inhale. And then option two, you just press back into your downward dog or child's pose, wherever you're at. So you have your option, either pressing back into your child's pose or downward dog. Nice job. Let's go ahead and bring our feet together, back of your mat. We're gonna shift forward into your plank pose, shoulders stack over your wrists. So whether you find your variation or just try for this full plank this time, your option here, hold 3, 2, 1, big inhale. And then exhale, press back, child's pose or downward dog. So just trying this variation, sped up here just a little bit. We'll try one more, inhale, shift forward, find your plank pose, your variation here. Nice job, guys, staying strong. 3, 2, big inhale. Then exhale, press those hips high and back. Find your downward dog or your child's pose. We'll all meet in our downward dog. Wherever you're at, bring those feet to touch, back of your mat. Inhale, reach your right leg high, three-legged dog. Circle out the ankle, right and left. And then reach those toes high in your next inhale. Let's bend the knee on the exhale through towards your chest. Step it through the top of the mat. Keep high in your back foot. We'll go ahead and inhale, use your core, lift all the way up. See if you can find your crescent lunge, deep bend in that front knee, squaring the hips to the front. And then slowly, hands come to heart center and lower that back knee all the way to the floor. Nice job. And then let's go ahead and grab for our blocks here in front. Bring them to frame that right foot. And then from here, make sure that the knee isn't jutting out over the toes. Your back foot can go flat. We want to start to press into those blocks, really start to pull our hips forward and bend into that front knee as we lift our chest through to the front and start to gaze up. So you might find just the slightest arch here into the back, big open into the hips. And then on your next exhale, just start to straighten through that right leg and fold your forehead towards the shin. Just drop the hips slightly back. So not quite a full half splits just yet. Flow through this. Inhale, bend the knee, lift the chest through, gaze goes up, let those hips drop forward. Exhale, drop the hips back, straighten through that right leg and fold forward, maybe finding a little more depth. Inhale, last time through, bend the knee, pull the chest through, gaze up. And then exhale, start to straighten out the right leg, drop the hips back. This time, find your full half splits. Maybe walk your blocks back so you can sit a little deeper towards that left heel. Excuse me, pull your right hip back, left hip forward. As you find your forehead folding towards the right shin, maybe the right knee or even the right thigh. Flex into your right foot. Notice how that deepens this. One more big inhale. And exhale, find your depth. We'll go ahead and inhale, start to bend into that knee, plant the foot. We'll take our blocks and place them back out at the top of your mat, about shoulder width distance. Take your hands inside of this right foot and just walk your right foot out, pressing those hips back. Walk it out, 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 all the way out and behind you. We're going into our tabletop. So not quite to our low lizard yet. I know I normally go there. We'll get back to our low lizard. So shimming out the hips, kind of right and left if we need, taking any movement here that feels good. I had to strategically plan stuff to in between these sun sals. I'm like saving our low lizard for another time. It's coming. So find our center here into our tabletop. Bring those hands out wide, nice and wide here underneath the shoulders. We're going to curl under your toes and lift your knees. Find your downward dog. Press those hips high and back. Or if it feels more comfortable to stay in your tabletop, you have that option too. Let's check in with our downward dog, just reviewing here, as we can have our feet either hip width distance, whatever feels comfortable here. Make sure that the stance though, with our palms and our feet, isn't too short and isn't too wide. So we want to be able to shift forward and find that plank pose. So maybe even shift forward and just test if you can find that plank pose and then press those hips back. Just about right spacing there. Our hips are going to go high to the sky. Bend the knees as much as you need here to take the pressure out of the low back. And then again, try to avoid dumping the shoulders through or chest through the shoulders. So really press into the palms. Try to pull those shoulders out away from the ears. Nice and strong here. Let the head relax nice and heavy as you press the chest actively towards the thighs. And then we'll go ahead, inhale, shift forward. Drop onto the forearms to find our option 3, which is our forearm plank. Whether you have your knees lifted or drop those knees towards the floor, find your variation here. Holding strong, suck the navel towards the spine. 3, press into the elbows, shoulders away from the ears. 2, 1, and then you have the option to drop the knees, press back into a child's pose, or walk those toes in, press those hips high, find your dolphin downward dog. So your option 3 is that forearm plank and pressing back into your dolphin dog, or again, finding your child's pose. And then wherever you're at here, if you're in your dolphin, you can either press up into your downward dog. If you're in your child's pose, you can either meet in your tabletop or meet in our downward dog. We're gonna find our other side. So feet together, back of your mat. We'll inhale, left toes reach long behind you. Circle out the toes right and left. Big inhale, reach that leg long, and then exhale, bend the knee through towards the top of your mat as you step your foot through between the palms. Deep bend into that knee, we're high on the back toes. Use your core strength, see if you can inhale, lift and rise up. Hands high, find your crescent lunge. Deep bend in that front knee. Palms come to heart center as you start to bring them down and lower that right knee to the floor. Nice job. So top of the right foot flat, deep bend in that left knee. We'll start to reach forward, grab for those blocks and frame our left foot. Deep bend in that left knee as you start to pull your chest through, gaze goes up, let the hips sink forward. Exhale, just drop those hips back, straighten through the left leg and fold. Not quite a full half splits yet. Just flow through this. Inhale, pull your chest through, deep bend in that front knee, gaze up. Exhale, drop it back. Let your forehead drop towards the shin, knee. Inhale, last time through, bend the knee, pull the chest through, gaze up. Exhale, drop the hips back, straighten through that leg. This time, find your full half splits. Maybe walking those blocks back so that we can sit those hips back a little more towards the heel. Notice if we pull our left hip back, right hip forward, how that might help deepen this. Find your breath here with your inhale, creating some space. And as you exhale, find your depth. As you're doing great. One more breath, big inhale. And exhale. Well, inhale as we start to lift ourselves forward, bend into that front knee. Place your blocks back out in front of your mat, about shoulder width distance. Hands come inside of your left foot. Just wiggle that left foot out to the side, all the way out to the side until you release it back. Give it a shake into your tabletop. And then taking any movement here that feels good into the hips. Whatever movement feels good into the spine. And let's go ahead and find our center. We're gonna make our way up to standing into a forward fold. So whether you'd like to curl under your toes, lift the knees and press into your downward dog, or stay in your tabletop. We'll start to gaze towards the top of your mat, walk the feet forward and meet in a forward fold. So allow your feet to come together. Allow your chest to relax over your thighs, bend the knees as we need. Hands can always use your blocks here to rest onto, let your head hang heavy. And then let's press into all four corners of the feet, bend into the knees as we inhale, circle sweep, hands reach up high. Optional back bend here as we open up those elbows 90 degrees, squeeze into the shoulder blades, gaze up, lean back. Inhale, reach hands high. Exhale, palms to heart center. Let's inhale, circle sweep, hands reach high. On your exhale, right hand drops behind you, left hand drops forward. So we're finding a twist here. The right hand reaching back, left hand forward, and then notice that that right hip just kind of pops open as well. Pull it back forward, yeah. So just trying to find this twist and ring and rinse into the torso here. So really pull that right hip forward as you reach that right hand back. Gaze wherever's comfortable on the neck. One more breath, big inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist into the torso. We'll inhale, right hand reaches forward, meets the left. As you exhale, left hand drops back, right hand reaches forward. So again, notice if that left hip just kind of pops open with the left arm. Pull that left hip back forward. As you reach your left hand back behind you, that's going to help find your twist into the torso. Find your gaze wherever's comfortable on the neck. Big inhale. Exhale, twist and deepen. And then we'll inhale, left hand reaches forward. As we exhale, palms to heart center. Nice job. We'll go on with finding 3 breaths here just to recenter ourselves. So hands long down beside you. Let's find our mountain pose. Really engage into the thighs, navel sucks towards your spine, lengthen up through the spine towards the ceiling. Just staying in our mountain pose here. Big inhale. Exhale. Find 2 more like that. Big inhale. Feel the lungs fill. And then exhale, rooting into the earth, or I guess the ground beneath us. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome here. Let's inhale. Circle sweep, hands reach up high. Exhale, palms to your heart center. Hinge at the hips, bend into the knees just enough so you can forward fold, hands towards the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. This is our option 4. Exhale, drop the hands towards the mat. Step your feet back. Find your plank pose. And then drop those knees down. Find your modified plank. We're still keeping our pelvis tucked, our navel sucked towards the spine, strong core. And then keeping your elbows tight into the rib cage, we'll start to lower down. Finding our modified chaturanga, trying to lead with our chin, chest, belly scoops through last. As we scoop that chest through, gaze starts to lift forward, crown of the head up, tops of the feet flat, squeeze those inner thighs together. Elbows like little grasshopper wings, low cobra. And then exhale, relax that chin down to the mat. We'll inhale, press up onto the knees, and then press back into your child's pose. Knees out wide, toes to touch, arms long in front of you. That was your option 4. So finding your modified plank, then lowering down onto the belly as you scoop the chest through to find your low cobra, and then press back into your child's pose. So here in our child's pose here, take one more big inhale and exhale. And then we'll inhale, lift ourselves up into our tabletop, bring those knees underneath our hips. We're gonna go through our option 5, which is working in our forearm to low scorpion. So from here, you can stay into your tabletop to make your way into your dolphin dog, or you can stay into kind of like a tabletop dolphin if this is better for you, or come onto the forearms and curl under the toes, lift the hips and find your dolphin dog. So we're gonna meet into our dolphin dog, our forearm dog, pressing into the elbows, shoulders away from the ears, and then see if you can start to hinge forward. You might need to scooch those toes back to find your forearm plank. So whether you drop the knees here or stay lifted just for a moment longer, one more big breath. And then we'll all drop the knees. Start to bring the tops of the feet flat and lower the chest towards the mat and then scoop it through. You may need to walk those elbows just slightly forward so that they stack underneath the shoulders. Feet come hip width distance as you press into the elbows, lift the crown of the head up, finding your low scorpion here. And then as you exhale, go ahead and start to drop the chest, bring the elbows out wide. Take the hands underneath the shoulders and press up onto the knees, press back into your child's pose. Toes to touch, knees out wide, just let your hips drop back, arms long in front of you. And then from here, let's go ahead and slightly lift the chest. Take our right hand, reach it up towards the sky, slight twist, and then weave it underneath the left armpit. As you relax your right shoulder down, settle onto a shoulder rinse, chest relaxes onto the right shoulder. Left arm stays long as you peel the left shoulder back towards the mat, relax your head down, and then relax your hips back. You can always place a block underneath this right arm, underneath the right shoulder so that you have the floor coming a little bit closer to you if you'd like to find that modification. One more breath here. Excuse me. Oh, knew that was coming. All right, gently pressing into the left hand, we'll lift the chest, release that right arm, give it a shake, and reach it out long in front of you. Pick up the left hand, reach it high to the sky, a little twist, and then weave it underneath the right armpit. Relax the left shoulder to the mat, chest relaxes onto the shoulder, head relaxes down. Reaching your right arm out long as you pull the right shoulder back towards the mat for a little more depth, and then sit those hips back. Again, always feel free to place a block underneath that left shoulder if that helps modify on the other side. But one more breath here. We'll press into the right palms. We start to lift that left arm and release it. Give it a shake and reach it out long in front of you. We'll make our way up into a tabletop when you're ready. Bringing the knees underneath us, palms underneath the shoulders. So finding your tabletop, weight into the left leg. We're going to inhale, reach the right leg long. And then as you exhale, bend the right knee towards the right elbow, step that right foot outside the right hand and walk it forward. And then if you'd like, grab for your blocks. Help lift yourself up, maybe make a little more space to walk that foot up and out. And then allow yourself to settle into your low lizard's pose. Your hips just sink into that space. Left leg is long behind you. Maybe drop onto the forearms, whether you use your blocks or not, allowing that right knee at any point to kind of settle out to the side, opening up. If you're on your forearms, let's start to lift ourselves onto the palms. We'll start to shift our hips back, walk that right leg out to the side. Go ahead and release it out, finding your tabletop. So placing those blocks just out the front of your mat here to find your tabletop for a moment, shaking the hips if needed. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead and curl under the toes. Start to lift the knees and press those hips high and back. Finding our option number 6 here together if it is in your practice today, but again, taking whatever modification suits you. We'll bring our feet about hip width distance here. Find those hips high, chest pressing towards the thighs, head is heavy. And then next inhale, roll into your plank pose, stacking the shoulders over the palms. Hips stay lifted. You have your option to do a full chaturanga, keeping your knees lifted, or drop the knees towards the floor. Wherever you're at, we're hugging those elbows in towards the rib cage and slowly lowering all the way to the belly. Just lower all the way to the belly. Legs long behind you. Let your chin relax down to the mat. Hands come underneath the shoulders. And then we'll take those feet hip width distance. When you're ready, exhale, you're out. And then inhale, press into the palms, start to lift the chest all the way, straightening through the arms, finding your full cobra. So notice if we need to find a modification, let's arch in the back, walk those hands forward, and then you can press into the palms, straighten through the arms. Try to really lift out the shoulders, lift the crown of the head up, let the hips just sink forward, legs relax. And then wherever you're at, start to gently exhale, bending those elbows, relaxing down. We'll take our hands underneath the shoulders, press up into your tabletop, press back into your child's pose. Knees out wide, toes to touch, arms long in front of you. So that's an option number 6, or where you can find either your modified chaturanga, that modified push-up, on your knees, or a full push-up, but just lower all the way to the belly and then press up into that full cobra. And then you can press back into a child's pose, meeting everyone at downward dog when you're ready. Taking one more breath here in your child's pose. And then we'll inhale next, lift up into our tabletop, knees underneath us, palms underneath the shoulders, find our other side. As we bring our weight into the right knee and into both palms, kick that left leg long behind you, lengthen. As you exhale, bend the knee in towards the left elbow, step that left foot outside your left palm. Be time to grab for those blocks here, helping create space to walk that left foot forward and out to the side. Deep bend into this left knee, our right leg is long behind you. Just allow your hips to start to sink forward in that space. Left knee bends deep. Maybe you start to drop onto your forearms using your blocks or not. Just let the head relax. Maybe even let that left knee drop out to the side. One more breath here. And then let's go ahead and start to lift up onto the palms. If you're on your forearms, we'll start to shift our hips back as we start to walk that left foot out to the side and release it out, finding your tabletop. Just give it a good shake. Those blocks can be out in front at the top of your mat there. And then when you're ready, we have our final option to try for a full chaturanga here, which we're going to work into, or finding your variation if you want to take your variation we've been working on today. So from our tabletop, we're going to curl under their toes, lift the knees, and press those hips high and back. Find your downward facing dog. Head is heavy, chest towards the thighs. Take a walk out in your downward dog. Just bend one knee and the other. Notice how this feels maybe compared to the beginning of class. And then take a look up at the top of your mat. We'll lift high into the toes. Next inhale, bend the knees. And then step forward to the top of your mat or take a couple steps. We'll meet in our forward folds. Relax the chest over the thighs. Head hangs heavy. Inhale, press into all four corners of the feet as we circle sweep. Hands reach up high. Exhale, optional back bend. Bend those elbows open 90 degrees. Squeeze into the shoulder blades. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, palms to your heart center. Nice job. Let's find our mountain pose. So our final option for our chaturanga that you'll be trying today, we're just gonna go through it. So finding your mountain pose here, last little bit. Nice and strong, straight spine. Next inhale, circle sweep, hands reach high. As we exhale, palms to heart center, bend in the knees, hinge at the hips, forward fold, hands towards the mat, head towards the shins, hips high. Inhale, halfway lift, strong core, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms towards the mat, step your feet back. Finding your version of your plank pose. For full chaturangas, finding our full plank, shoulders stack over wrists, hips stay lifted. Strong here, hold. We'll start to exhale, bend the elbows, lower down halfway, whether you've dropped the knees or not, full chaturangas. Inhale, scoot forward, tops of the feet flat, press up into your upward facing dog. We're trying to stay off of those thighs, really lift out of the shoulders, lift the crown of that high, and then exhale wherever you're at. Roll over the toes, press back, meet in your child's pose or your downward dog. Nice job, guys. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and drop those knees down to the mat. Sit your hips back onto your heels. Maybe find your child's pose for a moment. Just rock that forehead onto the mat, right and left. You guys have been doing great. It's that full chaturanga option. Coming from standing, you fold, halfway lift, come into your plank pose, and then you find that full push-up, half push-up, to scoot forward into your upward facing dog, and then pressing back into your downward facing dog. But again, that's a lot. So if you found a modification throughout the series that works better for you, please utilize that one as much as you'd like. And then I'll go ahead and have you press up and find a seat just onto the heels. I'm going to really quickly show you the last two options that you can do with your sun salutations. And I'm sure there's plenty of other options that people like to do, like hopping up into a handstand, but like I cannot do that. And that's way too challenging for me. So I'm stopping at the options that I can do. And so these final two options are ways to challenge yourself even more past that full chaturanga. And like I said, they might look really sloppy today because I haven't done them in a while, but I did try them and I'm like, okay, I can somewhat show you. So you can have an idea if you ever want to work towards that. But again, don't ever feel pressured to. This is just ways to expand your practice and just giving you the options. And again, adding to your toolkit. And for those that might join online later, that I just want to give those options in case they might want to try them as well. And so these next two options to challenge your chaturanga, I'm just going to start from my downward dog. I'm not going to go all the way up into that full sun salutation because it's more just adding into that chaturanga portion. So from your downward dog, to add a little extra into your chaturanga, you have the option to hinge forward to find your plank. And then as you lower down to find your chaturanga, press back up, find a push-up. You can, I don't think I can do 3, but the idea is just adding some extra push-ups here before you go into this upward facing dog. Yeah. But you can also do it from this, adding some extra push-ups here, and then do that. So you can also add in extra push-ups into your modified chaturanga as well. Still a bit more challenging because that's still, I'm like, I could maybe do 3 to 5, maybe 5. Because what you're focusing on here is adding in these push-ups without compensating here, without compensating there, you know. So start with maybe if you want to add in a push-up in your modified chaturanga, just add in 1 more and practice that a little bit. Then see if maybe you can add in 3 or like, oh, I can add an extra one this day. So again, that extra push-up can be added into your modified chaturanga option as well. Already winded. Here, this next one, we're gonna see if I can do it. But it's a fun one that I like to show. So this next one, from your downward facing dog, you shift forward into your plank pose, find your chaturanga, you scoot forward into your upward facing dog, and then you do it in reverse. Ooh, and press back. Yeah. So that one, I wouldn't recommend necessarily maybe doing it from your modified as much because that can get a little tricky. But yeah, that one for full, like when you're really feeling, all right, like you've been practicing that you've been practicing your full chaturanga and you're feeling like, yeah, I just want a little extra. That's something fun to try, but it's hard because your full body weight is keeping you up through that movement. It's a lot of muscle control. So just knowing that those are there if you ever do want to try. But I really suggest if you want to add in that extra push-up into your modified chaturanga, a really great place to, again, just work on strengthening up your arms and your biceps, your triceps for your planks, for your chaturangas, for your downward dogs. Lots of options there to benefit from. So after I've shown you those, we're going to just start to settle down because we've gone through all of our options, all of our modifications that I have to offer for chaturangas and sun salutations. So from here, excuse me, yeah, I'm like, boom, I'm getting my breath. Let's go ahead and start to relax onto our seat. You can go ahead and bring your legs out in front of you, plant the feet. And actually, before we start to work our way back, grab a block. So plant your feet, bend the knees, and then slowly just start to work your way back onto your block, or excuse me, onto your back. We'll walk our feet about hip width distance, really walk those in towards the heel or heels towards the hips. And then using your block here, we're gonna grab that block, press into the feet, lift the hips up, and place our block flatways underneath our tailbone. So just rest that tailbone down, rest your hips onto your block. And then from here, just allow gravity to sink into your block. You can either keep your knees bent, maybe knock them to center, feet out wide, or you can try maybe to lengthen your legs out long. Just allow this kind of natural opening through the front side body, natural arch into your back to happen over this block. Maybe even close your eyes. You've been working hard today, so just start to really relax here. Let your body just come to some stillness, not having to move. We've been moving enough throughout this last hour. And even if you want to find more depth into this posture, you can always bend the knees, plant the feet, pick those hips up and take that block onto its skinnier side so that you have a little more height there to rest your hips down onto that skinny end. And again, play with either keeping the knees bent or strengthening or lengthening those legs out long. Just come back to a natural breath here. Allowing all the good work you did today to integrate within the body as we start to settle into these resting postures. If you had your legs long, let's start to bend the knees, plant the feet, and then you have your option here to remove your block, or you can keep it here for this next part, legs up the wall. As we start to bend one knee in towards the chest, especially if you have a block still, bend the other knee, find your knees bent towards the chest. And when you're ready, lift those feet up towards the sky, legs up your invisible wall. Bend the knees as much as feels good here. Just let the legs go up above, side inversion. We allow the blood flow in the opposite direction. Notice how that feels. Maybe circle out the ankles, right and left. Wiggle out the toes. And then when you're ready, you start to bend the knees in towards the chest, step one foot down, then the other. We'll gently lift the hips, remove that block, and settle the tailbone back towards the mat. When you're ready, bend one knee in, then the other. Give those knees a squeeze. Really start to circle out the low back to the right and to the left. Last time here. And then finding your center, go ahead and wrap your arms around those knees, lifting your forehead towards the knees, hug everything in and give yourself a big squeeze. Really give yourself love for showing up today, giving this series a try. We're almost there to the end. And then exhale, release, full body stretch. Reaching the fingers long, reaching the legs long, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Any last movement that feels good here, go ahead and take it. But whenever you're ready, start to settle down into your final Shavasana. So arms come long down beside you, legs just relax. Close your eyes when you're ready. Check if the shoulders are up by the ears, just walk those away. Let the legs just splay and relax. Just give yourself a moment, just a moment longer here. Not have to do anything, not have to be anywhere. Give yourself permission to exist in this space. To close practice, I'd like to offer up a reading from Morgan Harper Nichols. Never carry on sealed off from life. Even though it's difficult to bear, you are still worthy of healing and care and the freedom and peace to move on. There will be more people, more places, peace beyond understanding. So hold on to that. This is how you will be able to begin to walk on the path, even if you are still waiting for answers, closure, clarity. Even when you cannot discern the terrain before you take the next step, now is still the time to go forth with an open heart, knowing that what you have walked through is valid and the experiences you gather will be entirely valid too. Start to bring awareness to the heart center of your chest here, noticing a flicker of light. This light represents and is the highest version of yourself. You cultivate this light, you fuel it each time you step into the space to practice, each time you put your mind and body as a priority. So as you bring awareness to this space, breathe into this space, feel its warmth, feel this light get a little bigger, a little brighter, and start to feel the energy that you need for today, for whatever comes next, to feel capable. Maybe that's strength, patience, compassion, forgiveness. As you breathe into this space and bring full body awareness to it, feel this energy get a little bigger and start to radiate throughout the body, feeling more capable to take on whatever comes next as you step off your mat. Breathe into this, and as you feel it expand into full body awareness, maybe you start to feel it manifest into the fingers and toes by wiggling those fingers and wiggling the toes. Maybe you reach the arms long overhead, or reach the legs into a full body stretch. Maybe even hugging the knees in towards the chest and giving yourself another little hug here. No rush at all, taking whatever movement helps awaken yourself back into this room. And then when you're ready, you can roll to your favorite side to find a fetal position, using your arm as a pillow, knees slightly tucked towards your chest. And just take one final moment here to acknowledge the space that you create for healing, for growth, for connection. And then with your eyes still closed, gently press on up to an easy seat. We'll meet with our hands either stacked on top of your heart or finding a palm set for our center. And coming back to your intention here, whatever it was, however it may have changed throughout class, whether it showed up or didn't, just find your next inhale and breathe this intention in, honor it for whatever it was. And then exhale, release any expectations surrounding how it may play out for you today. One more big inhale, breathing this in, sealing it in, and then letting it go. The light within each of you shines so brightly as I also see it within me, but today I'm here honoring all that is you, your practice, and you as a being. Thank you so much. It's always such an honor. Namaste. Thank you guys. Thank you. Really great energy today. Did you guys have any final questions about anything we covered, any of the modifications? And if not, that's great. Yeah. And feel free, if you come across anything or even want this recording for this week before we hit next week, I can send you this recording and you can just maybe watch it or skip to the parts that you felt you want to just kind of get a little extra time with. I can definitely do that. And then I would say homework in terms, or grow work in terms of this week and this class. is just maybe trying to work on your modification that you felt worked best for your body. Or, you know, maybe there were 2 of those that you liked, you know, one, however many there were. See if you can kind of incorporate them into maybe your practice if you come into another class here at the studio, or if you're doing a home practice, or just even want to try it as a little warm up at the beginning of the day, and just see how you know, just start to kind of practice it for next week. But again, if you don't get that in, no worries. It's just extra go work if you want to do it. And yeah, the video, I can send you the link. It's on my on-demand library, so I just need to send you the link to it. Yeah, and then you just click on it, and then it should just take you directly to a screen that you press play. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, if you really enjoy the little excerpts I read, I've been reading mostly from Morgan Harper Nichols, who's a really great artist, and she does like digital art and poetry, and that's how she's created books, you know, from her stuff. And I think her stuff is even now wall decor that you can buy in Target. Like, it's really been cool to see how, you know, yeah. And I mean, just her wording is just so powerful, and she's just got a way with words that's just really, I feel like, beautiful in terms of the journey that we're all on.